Chapter of the Cave. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the compassionate, the praise belongs to Allah, who hath sent down upon his servant the book as the norm, and hath not sent in it any crookedness, that he may give warning of a violent attack from his side, and may give good tidings to the believers who work the works of righteousness, that for them is a fine reward, in which they shall remain forever, and may warn those who say, Allah hath taken to himself offspring. They have no revealed knowledge of it, nor had their fathers. It is a serious thing as a word that proceeds from their mouths. They only speak falsehood. Perhaps, if they believe not this discourse, thou art going to exhaust thyself following them up out of worry. Verily, we have appointed what is on the earth as an adornment for it, in order that we may try them, which of them is best indeed. But assuredly, we are going to make what is on it dry and barren. Or didst thou think that the men of the cave and Araqim inscription were among our signs a wonder? Recall when the youths betook themselves to the cave and said, O our Lord, cause a mercy from thyself to come to us, and prepare for us of our affair a right arrangement. So we sealed up their ears in the cave for years a number. Then we raised them up, that we might know which of the two sects was best at reckoning for the time they had remained a period. We shall recount to thee the report of them in truth. They were young men who believed in their Lord and increased them in guidance. And we braced their hearts. They stood up and said, Our Lord is the Lord of the heavens and the earth. We will not call upon any God short of him. In that case, we should speak of an outrageous thing. It's not there. And previously it was. Have not sent it. These people of ours have taken for themselves gods short of him. If only they would produce a clear authorization regarding them. And who does greater wrong than he who devises about a law falsehood? See now, ye have withdrawn from them, and what they serve except Allah. So betake yourselves to the cave. Your Lord will display to you some of his mercy, and will prepare for you of your affair a kindly arrangement. One would see the sun when it rose inclining from their cave towards the right, and when it set passing them by on the left, when they were in an open part of it. That is one of the signs of Allah, whom Allah guideth. He is the rightly guided, whom he sendeth astray. Thou wilt not find for him a patron to set him right. One would think them awake as they lay, and we were turning them over right and left, their dog lying with 4 paws stretched out on the threshold. If one had observed them, he would have turned from them in fright and flight, and been filled because of them with dread. Thus we raised them up, that they might question among themselves. One of them said, How long have ye remained? They said, We have remained a day or part of a day. They said, Your Lord knoweth best how long ye have remained. Send one of you with this paper money of yours to the town, and let him see which part of it is purest in food, and let him bring you a supply of it. Let him be courteous, and let not know of you anyone. If they get the upper hand of you, they will stone you, or make you return to their creed. And in that case, ye will not prosper ever. And thus we cause people to stumble upon them, that they might know that the promise of Allah is true, and that in regard to the hour there is no doubt. See They were disputing about their affair among themselves. They said, erect over them a building. Their Lord knoweth best about them. Those who prevailed in their affair said, assuredly we shall choose to build over them a place of worship. They will say 3 in their dog, and they will say 5 in their dog, making conjectural statements, and they will say 7 in their dog, say, my Lord knoweth their number best. There know them only a few, so do not dispute in regard to them, except on a plain issue, and do not ask a deliverance about them from any one of them, and do not say with regard to anything, I am going to do that tomorrow, except with the reservation that Allah so will, and make mention of thy Lord when thou dost forget, and say, possibly my Lord will guide me to something nearer the truth than this. They remained in their caves 300 years, and 9 more, say Allah knoweth best how long they remained. To him belongeth the unseen in the heavens and the earth. How well he sees and hears. Short of him they have no patron, and he maketh no one partner in his rule. Recite what has been put into thy mind of the book of thy Lord. No one can alter his words. Short of him thou wilt find no covert, and content thyself with those who call upon thy Lord in the morning and in the evening, desiring his countenance, and let not thine eyes rove from them, desiring the adornment of this present life, and obey not anyone whose heart we've made neglectful of our remembrance, but who follows his own desire and is a bounder, and say, the truth is from your Lord. So who wills, let him believe, and who wills, let him disbelieve. Verily we had prepared for the wrongdoers a fire, the awnings of which have encompassed them, and if they call for aid, they will be sprinkled with water like molten metal, which will broil their faces, a bad drink and a bad place to lie in. Those who have believed and done the works of righteousness, verily we do not allow to go lost the reward of any who do well indeed. For these are gardens of Eden, with the rivers flowing beneath them, in which they will be adorned with bracelets of gold, and wear green garments of satin and brocade, reclining therein on the couches, a good reward and a good place to lie in. Coin for them a parable to men, to one of whom we appointed 2 gardens of vines, and surrounded both of them with palm trees, and set in the space between them cultivated land. Each of the 2 gardens produced its edible fruit, and did wrong in no part thereof, and we caused to bubble up between them a river, and had fruit. So he said to his friend in discussion with him, I have more wealth than thou, and am more influential in retinue. He entered his garden doing wrong to himself. He said, I do not think that this will ever perish, nor do I think the hour is coming, and surely if I am taken back to my Lord, I shall find something better than it in exchange. Said his friend in discussion with him, hast thou believed in him who created thee from dust, and then from semen, and then gave thee form as a man? But he is Allah, my Lord. With my Lord I will not associate anyone. Why, when thou enterest thy garden, didst thou not say, as Allah willeth, there is no strength but in Allah? If thou thinkest me inferior to thee in wealth and children, possibly my Lord will give me something better than thy garden, or send upon it a reckoning from the heaven, so that it become a dry, slippery height, or its water may go deep underground, that thou wilt not be able to trace it. His fruit was encompassed, and he was found turning down the palms of his hands over what he had spent upon it, for it had collapsed under its trellises, saying, Oh, would that I had not associated with my Lord anyone short of law. There was no party to help him, and he was helpless. There, the right of protection belongs to Allah, the truth. He is best in reward and best in the final issue. Coin from them for them a parable of the nearer life. It is like water which we send down from the heaven. Then the vegetation of the earth becomes mingled with it. Then one morning it becomes broken stuff which the winds scatter. Allah has become over all things empowered. Wealth and sons are the adornment of the nearer life, but the things which remain, the works of righteousness, are in thy Lord's eyes better in the matter of reward and better expectation. On the day when we shall cause the mountains to move, and one will see the earth stepping forward, and we shall round them up, and leave of them not one, and they shall be mustered before thy Lord in ranks. Ye have come to us as we created you the first time. Nay, but ye asserted that we had set for you no tryst, and the book will be placed in position, and no one will see the sinners in alarm at what is in it, and saying, oh, alas for us. What about this book, which leaves not anything small or great, but it has counted it in, and they shall find what they have wrought present, and thy Lord wrongeth no one. Recall when we said to the angels, do obeisance to Adam, and they did obeisance, all but Iblis. He was one of the jinn, and revolted from the command of his Lord. Do ye then take him and his progeny as patrons apart from me, though to you they are hostile? Bad for the wrongdoers as an exchange, I made them not as witnesses of the creation of the heavens and the earth, nor even of the creation of themselves, nor was I one to choose the seducers as supporters. On the day of the saying, call my partners whom ye have alleged, and they called them and received no response. We have set between them a gulf. The sinners saw the fire and thought that they were about to fall into it, but found from it no loophole. We have turned about for the people in this Qur'an all kinds of parables, but man is for the most part a cavalier. Nothing has prevented the people from believing now that the guidance has come to them, and from asking pardon of their Lord, but that there may come to them what was customary with people of long ago, or that the punishment may come to them beforehand. We do not send envoys but as bringers of good tidings and warners, but those who have disbelieved cavil with vain words, that they may thereby make the truth of no effect, and that they have taken my signs, and what they are warned of as a butt of mockery. Who does worse wrong than he who, having been reminded by the signs of his Lord, has turned from them and forgotten what his hands have sent forward? Verily, we have placed veils upon their hearts, lest they should understand it, and in their ears heaviness. If thou callest them to the guidance, they will, in that case, not let themselves be guided ever. But thy Lord is the forgiving, showing mercy. If he were to take them to task for what they have piled up, he would have surely hastened for them the punishment, yet for them is a tryst short of which they will find no place to betake themselves to. These towns we destroyed when they did wrong, and we appointed for their destruction a tryst. Recall when Moses said to his page, I shall not leave off until I reach the confluence of the two seas, or I shall go on for long. So when they reached the confluence of them, they forgot their fish, and it took its way in the sea freely. So when they had passed through, he said to his page, bring us our morning meal, for there has come upon us from this journey of ours fatigue. He said, didst thou see when we repaired to the rock? Lo, I forgot the fish. It must have been Satan who made me forget to remember it, and it took its way in the sea, a wonder. He said, that is what we have been desirous of. So they returned upon their tracks retracing. They found one of our servants, upon whom we had bestowed a mercy from us, and whom we had taught from our side knowledge. Moses said to him, shall I follow thee on condition that thou teachest me of what thou hast been taught a right knowledge? He said, thou wilt not be capable with me of endurance. How wilt thou endure under that of which thou comprehendest nothing? He said, thou wilt find me, if Allah will, enduring, and I shall not oppose thee in anything. He said, even then, if thou follow me, ask me not of anything until to thee I introduce of it some mention. So they set off and went on until when they embarked in the ship, he scuttled it. Said he, hast thou scuttled it in order to drown the crew? Surely thou hast committed a grievous thing. He said, did I not say that thou wouldst not be capable with me of endurance? He said, take me not to task for my having forgot, but impose not upon me as a part of my affair difficulty. So they set off and went on until when they met a youth, and he killed him. He said, hast thou taken an innocent life, not in return for a life? Surely thou hast committed a thing unheard of. He said, did I not say to thee that thou wouldst not be capable with me of endurance? He said, if I ask thee about anything after this, company is not with me. From my side thou wilt have had sufficient excuse. So they set off and went on until when they came to the people of the town. They asked for food from the people of it, but they refused to entertain them. They found in it a wall ready to fall down, and he set it up. He said, if thou hast like, thou mightest have taken therefore a hire. He said, this is the parting between me and thee. I shall inform thee of the interpretation of what thou wast not capable of enduring. As for the ship, it belonged to poor men who toil in the sea, and I wished to damage it, for there was behind them a king, taking every ship by force. As for the youth, his parents were believers, and we feared that he might impose upon them arrogance and unbelief. So we desired that their Lord should give them in exchange one better than he in purity and closer to them in tenderness. As for the wall, it belonged to 2 orphan youths in the city, and under it was a treasure belonging to them. Their father was an upright man, and thy Lord wished that they should reach full age and bring forth for themselves their treasure as a mercy from thy Lord. I did it not of my own command. That is the interpretation of what thou wast not able to endure. They asked thee about Dhul-Qarnayn, chief of the 2 horns. Say of him, shall I recite to you some mention? We gave him power in the earth and bestowed upon him to everything a way of access. Then he followed a way of access until when he reached the setting of the sun, he found it setting in a muddy spring, and he found beside it a people. We said, O Dhul-Qarnayn, it is open to you either to punish or to choose amongst them the way of kindness. He said, as for him who does wrong, we shall punish him, and then he will be taken back to his Lord. He will punish him with a punishment unheard of. But for him who has believed and acted uprightly, there is the reward of the better world, and we shall speak to him of our affairs, something easy. Then he followed a way of access until when he reached the rising of the sun, he found it rising upon a people between whom and it we had placed no veil. So it was, we comprehended well what was with him. Then he followed a way of access until when he arrived between the 2 barriers, he found on this side of them a people who could hardly understand speech. They said, O Dhul-Qarnayn, Yajuj and Majuj, the Hyperboreans, are working corruption in the earth. Shall we pay thee tribute on condition that thou will place between us and them a barrier? He said, that in which my Lord hath given me power is better, so help me with might, and I shall place between you and them a rampart. Bring me lumps of iron. Until when he had even up between the 2 mountain faces, he said, blow. And when he had made it fire, he said, bring me, and I shall pour upon it molten brass. So they were not able to mount over the back of it, nor were they able to pierce it. He said, this is mercy from my Lord. But when the promise of my Lord comes, he will make it powder. And the promise of my Lord is true, and we shall leave them on that day surging against each other, and the trumpet shall be blown, and we shall gather them together. On that day we shall set Gehenna for the unbelievers in array, whose eyes have been blindfolded from the remembrance of me, and who were not capable of hearing. Do then those who have disbelieved reckon that they may take my servants as patrons apart from me? Verily, we have prepared Gehenna for the unbelievers as a reception. Say, shall we announce to you who is most loose? Shall we announce to you who it is who most lose their works, whose effort goes astray in this present life, though they think that they are doing well? It is those who have disbelieved in the signs of their Lord and in the meeting with him, so their works have become fruitless, and we shall attach to them on the resurrection day no weight, that is the recompense, Gehenna, for their having disbelieved and taken my signs and my messengers as a butt of ridicule. Verily, for those who have believed and wrought the works of righteousness will be the gardens of paradise as a reception in which to abide, desiring therefrom no change. Say, if the sea were ink for the words of my Lord, the sea would give out before the words of my Lord would give out, even if we were to produce another like it as a further supply. Say, I am only a human being like yourselves, to whom it is suggested that your God is one God, so whoever looks forward to the meeting with his Lord, let him work righteous work, and let him not give a share of the service of his Lord to anyone. Now, if you read the Arabic, you're not going to run into the so-called scientific error that people are going to say. It doesn't say the sun sets in a muddy spring. It says that the time of the sunset, literally, it says until the time of the sunset, he saw the sunset in the muddy spring. And then come around the sunrise, he saw it the other place. But he, look at the empire. So the sunset of the empire and the sunrise of the empire, that's what he was talking about. And this chapter, aside from answering the three questions, what about the people of the cave? What about, I don't know if there was a more precise way that was asked. What about the companion of Moses? What about the person of the two horns? It answered those questions eloquently, and it also gave forth an eschatology, whether end times period or your own end times. It works as a very good chapter. The first 10 verses, the last 10 verses, the whole chapter